Hey, what's up guys? Today, I'll show you a thriller horror film, Lesson of the Evil. Spoiler ahead, watch out and take care. The movie begins with the backstory of the young Hasumi, who happens to be a sociopath. His parents are frustrated as they suspect his being delinquent. His father linked him to the death of his tutor, so he wanted to punish him, while his mother cried in distress. She tries to persuade him and tells him that he is a juvenile. While naked, Hasumi quietly went upstairs with a knife. Suddenly, the mother tensely noticed the door opening. Then the scene moves toward the present. At present, Hasumi is now an English teacher. His students and peers love and respect him for his friendliness, which masks his true nature. He has an excellent educational background. At the same time, he is a sociopath resorting to killing as a way to deal with several issues. In the school office, the faculty members discuss the issue of cheating. Hasumi points out the use of cell phones as a cheating tool, since they cannot blatantly body check the student. He suggests using the radio club advisor's help by jamming the cell phones during exams, but the advisor and other teachers do not seem to concur, as it breaks the law. After their class, the three school friends talk about their lesson with Hasumi. Reika changes the topic and asks the ringleader of the cheating group, Kei, about his involvement in cheating. He answers that he is confident about not being caught, so he continuously does it to mess with the marking scheme. Meanwhile, the student's father complains about his daughter. He furiously insists that her daughter experienced bullying. He gets enraged as Hasumi dismisses it and throws his cigarette. The next day, the three female students come to Hasumi to report that the PE teacher is sexually harassing another student, Mia. Hasumi then meets with Mia in her truck, and she confesses to him. She reveals that after the PE teacher discovered that she shoplifted, he blackmailed her into giving him his sexual favors as he held the recording of her admission of shoplifting. After that, Hasumi accompanies Mia to the store to apologize. Then, he instructs her to send a text message to the PE teacher, indicating that she has cleared it with the store owner, and that he can no longer blackmail her. The following day, Hasumi collects the students' cell phones and secretly uses a cell phone jammer to prevent cheating. After the exam, the bully boy batters Kei for not sending the answers. He then reckons that their phones were jammed, suspecting the advisor of the radio club to be the person behind it. Surprisingly, the advisor overhears him and clarifies that he was not responsible for the jamming. The following day, Hasumi ruminates about the ravens in Norse mythology named Hugin and Munin, agents of Odin, while looking at the ravens outside the window. That in the school, once again, a student's father is persistent in proving that there is bullying. He gets infuriated as he presents them with an online post from a site that only students can access. But Hasumi dismisses it again and tells him that he is just complaining to let off steam, which makes him furious. After that, Hasumi jogs around the father's house. He notices the water bottles on the fence, which gives him an idea of how to plot his death. The next day, Mia meets Hasumi on the school roof. She expresses her gratitude with a hug that advances into a tongue massage. Suddenly, someone is there, so he lets Mia get out quickly as he confronts that person, who happens to be the bully boy. Meanwhile, the student's father is frustrated that there is still no message from his daughter. After he smokes, he throws his cigarette, which later smolders and causes a fire that burns his house and kills him. The next day, the detective speaks with the teachers about the death of the student's father. The detective speculates that someone put kerosene in the water bottles, and it was lit by the thrown cigarette, which caused the fire. Later, the suspicious advisor comes across the detectives. He talks about Hasumi and tries to ring a bell by mentioning the incident at a local high school where Hasumi once worked and where crimes had happened, but they do not get it. Kei, who has been eavesdropping, asks the advisor about Hasumi. He then becomes more intrigued about Hasumi and the incident at that high school. Meanwhile, Hasumi confronts the art teacher about being involved in a homosexual relationship with a student. He warns him about its danger and consequences. The art teacher admits it and apologizes for it. Hasumi then tells him that he now holds his life, leaving him stunned. So Hasumi takes it as an opportunity to borrow his luxurious car and place. Later, Hasumi brings Mia to the art teacher's place to satisfy their forbidden hormone pleasure. As Hasumi is about to shower, Mia notices the scar on his back and asks, but he refuses to talk about it. The following day at the library, the trio talks about the Werther effect, the wave of multiple suicides at that high school. 4 people committed suicide there, 2 by hanging, 1 by jumping, and another by carbon monoxide. Kei tries to imply that Hasumi was involved, as he points out that the advisor mentioned to the cops that Hasumi worked there. Suddenly, Reika tells him to stop his endeavors, as she feels he will be in danger. Meanwhile, the classroom is in chaos when a fight breaks out caused by the bully boy student. Apparently, an anonymous post online accused him of burning another student's house. Then Mia remembers that night when Hasumi asked her about getting onto the message boards online. Just then, Hasumi comes and stands between the students. After that, Hasumi talks with the bully boy student, asking him to have a drink. But he refuses, saying that he is penniless, but Hasumi insists on it. Later that night, Hasumi is working out naked while the song "Mac the Knife" is playing in the background, a habit that he usually does after killing someone. The scene then flashes back to when Hasumi killed his parents. The young and naked Hasumi was walking backward with the dead bodies on the ground. Her mom seemed to have died, abruptly after a stab right through her chest. He then calmly washed off the blood on his body and buried someone's shoes. After that, the young Hasumi acted in a fake violent scenario, where he cut himself with a knife and called the police to ask for help. Then he pretended as if someone restrained him and dropped the call. He proceeded with the enactment of his imagined crime. He stabbed himself in the back and threw himself on the wall to intensify the force that explains the mark on his back. Back to the present, Hasumi wakes up in his bed naked, staring outside the window at his targets, the ravens, and clicks the button to electrify it. Meanwhile, the advisor meets Kei. He reveals his suspicions about Hasumi, explains that he dug about him, and finds strange details that link Hasumi to various death incidents, his former tutor and own parents. The advisor is dubious of those multiple suicides at that high school where Hasumi had worked. Oblivious to the bugged room, he proceeds with the detailed discussion of his investigations about him, while Hasumi has been listening to them. Later at night, Hasumi tracks him and approaches him on the train, while very few people are paying attention. He takes that chance to murder the advisor and makes his death appear as a hanging suicide. The school announces the advisor's death the next day, making Kei realize that the room was bugged. He then hurries into the room to look for it. Upon finding it, Hasumi suddenly shows up. He confronts Hasumi about the advisor's death, when suddenly worried Reika comes looking for Kei and finds Hasumi alone in the room instead. She is suspicious and has a bad feeling after Hasumi lies about not seeing him. After knocking out Kei and tying him up, Hasumi tortures him and asks him if he has told anyone about the advisor's suspicions. He admits to being the cheating group's ringleader. Later on, Kei doesn't say anything about telling others, which concerns Hasumi. Meanwhile, a flashback of Hasumi back in the States, where he met his former ally, Clay. It begins with their conversation about the song "Mac the Knife," which is said to be Clay's theme song for killing. Hasumi discerned its lyrics as a killer's song. Clay thought they shared the same hobby of killing for fun. They became partners in crime and enjoyed killing as it showed them carrying buckets full of blood and organs. Eventually, Hasumi killed his partner by knocking him out and burning him alive inside a barrel, as they did not share the same objective in the killing. He then wakes up and spots the raven he called Munin, aiming it with his shotgun and promising to kill it soon. Later that day, using a luxury car, Hasumi brings Mia again to the luxury apartment for an intimate date. While he is taking a shower, Mia discovers several cell phones in Hasumi's bag and is shocked to find the missing bully boy student's phone. Later, she asks Hasumi if he has the boy's cell phone. He then proceeds with his alibi that he forgot the phone after they went to drink. Mia has grown suspicious that the bully boy's disappearance is caused by the same person, who posted an accusation against him online. Hasumi thinks that Mia might figure out that he is responsible for the bully boy's death, so he forged Mia's suicide note, marking her as his next target. The following day, the student films his classmates at work, preparing for their event. Later on, the student comes back, making another student mournful as her boyfriend, the bully boy, is now the only one missing. Mia witnesses the girl's sorrow and runs to tell Hasumi about it. Meanwhile, the two students spot Mia as she runs and are worried that she might meet with the PE teacher. Concurrently, Hasumi lures Mia to the school roof as she continuously bothers him with the bully boy. He knocks her out and throws her off the building to make it look like a suicide. Suddenly, another student comes looking for Mia. As she gets closer to Mia's shoes and letter, Hasumi immediately knocks her out and kills her. He has no way to cover up another student's death, so he decides to start a school massacre and plans to frame the art teacher for it. So he calls the art teacher and lies that his beloved student is in trouble so as to make him come in a hurry. Meanwhile, the art teacher's beloved is doing his artwork at the fair, and some students notice that there is no service again. Another student realizes that their phones are being jammed. At the same time, Hasumi goes to his home to get the firearm he will use for his plan. Later, the art teacher arrives in the room where Hasumi is waiting. As he comes closer, Hasumi knocks him out and uses his shoes to make it as evidence later. As the other students notice their phones being jammed, they become suspicious, especially Kei's friends who know Hasumi and suspect it to be the person behind it. Momentarily, Hasumi begins his plan with the three students in the room. Some of the students hear the gunshots and the PE teacher comes out immediately. Right after Hasumi hands Mia's underwear to the PE teacher, he shoots him. The rest of the students on the ground are now afraid. He then announces that there is an intruder with a shotgun and advises the students to go to the roof. The students start to panic and disperse. Some trust Hasumi and follow him, and some do not. They split up to look for the boy who is supposed to meet a girl. Then others set up a plan of building a barricade. Meanwhile, Hasumi is on the move and shoots the group of male students just like hunting the birds. He tracks everyone by crossing out from the class list of those students he has killed. Out of the blue, he hears some noise calling him. He is hallucinating when he sees on his gun his former ally, Clay, motivating him through their theme song, Mac the Knife. Afterward, he proceeds with his killings enthusiastically. The students who have been waiting to enter the roof happily welcome him, but are shocked when he shoots them, one after another. He then goes ahead to hunt and shoot the rest of the students. Fortunately, the boy student escapes the school and asks for help from a man outside. But then, the boy decides to go back to save the girl student he is supposed to meet. Then the girl student is also making a way to escape by climbing down the rope. Not long after, they successfully meet each other. Out of the boy's delight, he screams her name, which calls attention to Hasumi from the window. He tries to fight using his archer, but unfortunately, Hasumi shoots them. Then Hasumi's personified gun speaks and cues him to hurry. After he sets the corridor on fire, he climbs through the rope used by the girl. It is too late for the students to realize to untie it, and they blame one another right before Hasumi appears in front of them. Just then, they run for their lives, while Hasumi chases them with his shotgun. Meanwhile, Reika and her friend panic and hide. Reika proposes to use the emergency escape chute. Subsequently, Hasumi meets the art teacher's beloved. He notices Hasumi wearing the art teacher's shoes, making him realize his plan to frame the art teacher for all these. He tries to fight back, but fails as Hasumi finishes him with a stab. Meanwhile, Reika and her friends set up the escape chute and throw their classmates' bodies wearing their clothes, tricking Hasumi into thinking they are the last on the list. He shoots the escape chute multiple times to ensure his targets are dead. Then he leaves contentedly without knowing that they were not Reika and her friends' actual bodies. After that, Hasumi concludes this massacre by setting up the art teacher's suicide and his alibi. A moment later, many police and detectives arrive and search swiftly. Then a cop announces the two survivors, Reika and her friend, will spoil Hasumi's plot. He then pretends to be concerned and tries to console them. Abruptly, Reika's friend is infuriated and denounces him as the culprit. Reika is still trembling, so the detective restrains Hasumi as he tries to come closer to her. Afterward, the friend passes by the nurse's office and runs toward the recording device containing recorded audio of the murdered student, who shouted Hasumi's name before getting killed. That made the cops arrest Hasumi. As Hasumi gets arrested, Reika desperately asks about Kei, who went missing after the advisor's death. Then Hasumi answers suddenly, incorporating what he learned from Norse mythology, and says that it was all the will of God, that he was tasked to kill the demons in the class, and sees the two survivors as the ravens and calls her Munin. Reika's friend terrifyingly thinks he is crazy, but Reika realizes it is just the beginning of his game. After that, it is revealed that Mia survived and utters Hasumi's name. The movie ends with the note, "To be continued." This is Daniel's CC Movie Channel. Stay safe and enjoy your day.